Blade Master here again, and I've got another replay for you guys to watch. And I believe this is going to be a how to deal with Odrysian Kingdom tutorial. So it's me as the Boyai, and he has taken Odrysian Kingdom, of course. And this was played in the Beta Flash tournament that ended, I think, a couple of hours ago. And the rules of this tournament was you can only pick one faction once in the tournament, and I had already picked like Arverni and Gedai, so I was left with Boya as the real like one of the last few power factions in among the barbarians. And meanwhile, he had Odrysian Kingdom, and he decided to take that. So I've taken two Celtic bowmen, and I've taken three sword followers behind them, and two noble swords. Well, not naked swords, naked warriors, on their sides. I've also got five axe warriors behind them and a noble horse general. I've got two heavy horse and backed up by a spear warrior on either flank. We'll get to his build in a bit. The map is played out in such a way that I can't really see his army, but he's got three Thracian nobles, six Thracian warriors, double chevron falksmen, and four Thracian royal cavalry. So a very strong Odrysian Kingdom lineup to bring against a barbarian faction. And even though I technically have the numbers against him, he would destroy me if by just doing a regular charge on me. So here we can take a good look at his build. So as you can see, three Thracian nobles. He's got four Thracian royal cavalry, including a Thracian royal cavalry gen. And he's got one, two, three, four, five, six Thracian warriors and one mercenary falksman behind them. So I've got the numbers advantage, as you can see. I've got slightly higher numbers in terms of infantrymen, and I've got one extra cab unit. But well, you can never underestimate Odrysian Kingdom. They are by far the most powerful faction to take against other barbarian factions, and it is pretty hard to counter them. But in this video, I'm going to try and show you how best to deal with them. So the first tactic to deal with Odrysian Kingdom is to let your archers get as many shots on their Thracian nobles as possible, and for that you need to keep kiting. Like it might be considered a pretty cheap strategy, but it's an absolutely necessary one when it comes to fighting Odrysian Kingdom. So I kite back. This gives my archers enough time to fire off one more volley, and it's kind of a. I mean, it makes your opponent a bit unsure, and it also gives me time to move my cavalry and do a nice surround type of kind of an envelope around him. Now my archers get a volley. Let's take a look at how many kills they've got over here. Not many, I'm sure, just 2 and 4, but they've definitely done some HP damage. And now, because of me kiting and him just trying to pursue this head-on charge as much as possible, he's left one of his Thracian warriors unchecked, and I use the time that I've gained by kiting to catch some of his units unawares. That's the only way that you can win against Odrysian Kingdom. Pick them apart one by one. And now I've charged my two heavy horse on his Thracian warriors. Thracian warriors are very susceptible to a charge, and I've also used one of my spear warriors to follow his Thracian royal cavalry. Now my regular horse, heavy horse, have taken quite a few casualties, but so has his Thracian warriors. They've killed 13 men, but they've lost around 40. Using my surrounding technique on my left flank as well, and now I surround his Thracian royal cavalry, put on cavalry counter tactics as soon as possible, and try and kill one of his cavalry units off as very quickly. So that because the only way that I could win this is by winning the flank battle, because the very massive weakness that Odrysian Kingdom has is they have very low melee defense, as you can see, so they are very susceptible to a rear charge. You can rear charge Thracian nobles and they will just like fall apart so easily. But head on, they will obliterate any unit that they face. My kiting doesn't really go well over here he manages to get one of his Thracian Royal Cavalry on my heavy horse, so I decide to try and send one of my spearmen to back them up. Over here, this is just turned into a giant blob, which my cavalry are losing very quickly. So I send a naked warrior to help out in that regard. I've also sent my noble horse Gen, a bit in front so that he can pounce on any opportunity to charge his Thracian warriors. Thracian nobles coming to help out here, my heavy horse would lose in a matter of seconds if that happened. So I use one of my axe warriors to catch them on the charge. So the thing is, if you don't let Odrysian Kingdom get a proper charge, their units are not as effective. They're still very effective, but they're not as effective. Their charge bonus is something massive, 63. Jesus Christ. Their melee attack and weapon damage are also incredible. So that means that they will do really well in extended combat. But units such as Thracian warriors, especially, will suffer if you don't let them get a proper charge on you, and that's exactly what happens here. I don't let him get a good charge, so I try to envelop him as soon as possible. So what's going on here is I've tried to take the battle more to the flanks, and just enticing my opponent. I move my sword followers, I believe. No, my axe warriors in front, and then immediately kite them back. Just provoke him as much as possible. And meanwhile, I get a nice rear charge with my noble horse on his Thracian nobles, and they're dropping pretty quickly. Once you bog them down, they're not as strong as they can be. So now I'm just going to try and keep cycle charging. Meanwhile, his units are a bit more spread out, not as spread out as I would like. And he's also destroyed my heavy horse on this flank, so he's got some cavalry who are going to be a pretty big threat. The only way to stop kiting is to get some of your cavalry units at the back so that you can catch some of them while they're kiting back. Now like I said, I cycle charge, get this Thracian noble out of the picture. Meanwhile, my bowmen are they're just taking getting a bunch of kills, but they're about to get charged by Thracian Royal Cavalry. I've tried to intercept them with axe warriors, but they're not going to do a good enough job. Meanwhile, with a couple of cycle charges, this Thracian noble is about dead, and he hasn't really caused too many casualties. He's caused a bunch of casualties, no doubt about it, but he could have absolutely killed my naked warriors, my axe warriors, and then a couple of more units if I left him unchecked. So first technique, don't let them get a proper charge. Second technique, rear charge as much as possible. Now there's no more kiting to be done, and I send my sword followers on a head-on charge with the Thracian nobles. These guys already have lost about 30 men, going to be 40 men on a single charge. These guys are still wavering. I should have used my general's warcry ability a bit sooner, but these guys are out in any case. Now I've bogged these guys down, the Thracian nobles down, and it's all up to my general to keep trying to cycle charge. The battle is not going in my favor at the moment. He's definitely, despite me having a giant numbers advantage over him, is just the fact that his units are so good against other melee units. But one unit which is pretty surprising that can stand up to Thracian warriors are my naked warriors, which is really crazy because they have no armor. But I guess their really high melee defense makes up for it. They are winning against the Thracian warriors, despite having a bunch of casualties. So again, my noble horse does a cycle charge, and it breaks the Thracian warriors very quickly. These Thracian nobles are dying pretty soon too, just because they got bogged down and got rear charged. Naked warriors are doing a good job, but too many Thracian nobles, man. The other noble has come back, and he's charged them, and both of them are routed. And I get another rear charge. So far, my noble horse has only got 39 kills, really, and I've got a bunch of casualties. But what happened here was I did some rear charges, and his Thracian warriors, while inflicting a bunch of casualties on mid-tier units such as sword followers, they will die very soon. And as long as you can pick them apart, kind of. I didn't really do that, but I did make it so that it wasn't a clean charge, just like the Suebi video. It wasn't a clean charge head-on, and I got some of them on the flank. I got some of them on the rear. So once you don't let them get a proper charge off, then it's game over for Thracian warriors. For Thracian nobles, it's a pretty different story. But these mercenary falsemen, they did a good number of kills by rear charging my sword followers. But once I mopped up this unit of Thracian warriors, I sent my axe warriors to hit them at the back, and these guys are the most susceptible units to a rear charge. Now, I believe all I'm going to keep doing with my noble horse gen is to keep rear charging as much as possible until they die. But they're proving to be incredibly strong, and this is where my gen dies because I don't get a rear charge on him properly. So he gets a counter charge with his Thracian nobles, and they just smash my general like immediately. What, 17 kills on a noble horse? That is insane with an infantry unit especially, and that's all because they have that hidden bonus versus cavalry. Now, he managed to rout one of my bowmen, which could have been a massive MVP for this match, but the fact that he managed to rout them very quickly was a big disadvantage. Still, I have some spear warriors who are just about ready to rout this Thracian royal cavalry, and I've got a Celtic bowman who's just getting uninterrupted shots. I had a heavy horse at around 13 units, who managed to get into the back of the Thracian royal cav gen, and while I basically it looks like I've snatched victory from the jaws of death basically. um, but yeah, now his gen is dead. My gen died a bit quicker than his, and I was really hoping that my units wouldn't mass rout because thankfully I had some sword followers. The only remaining were sword followers and axe warriors, and both of them have pretty high morale, 65 and 55. The naked warriors also have great morale, but they were too few in number, and so I mean, if they waver, it's understandable. So is my heavy horse. They didn't do great, but they proved pretty vital in routing his gen by doing that rear charge. So now I've got the numbers advantage. He does have a Thracian noble who's just 200 kills, 202 and counting, but they're just going to get bogged down. And at this point, it's not even about killing the Thracian noble. It's just about routing this Thracian warrior, routing this Thracian cavalry, and the rest would rout automatically. So I've decided to bog them down with my last remaining unit of axe warriors. The Thracian nobles are pretty. He decides to kite with them a bit. So I catch them in the rear. And once you catch the nobles in the rear with the low HP that they probably have right now, it's game over for them. So yeah, they're dropping very quickly. Thracian warriors are not doing great. Well, they probably did great. 99 kills against sword followers who, wow, they've done really well as well. But yeah, that's I'm able to rout the rest of his army that way. So that's the end of this battle. I hope you guys liked it, and it was a really, really exhausting and fun battle to play because it was lagging a lot. So in real time, the battle took about 20 minutes with lag, and it was just the most exhausting game because just rear charge after rear charge, cycle charge with your general who's still not getting many kills, and then try to bog the enemy down with as much infantry as possible. But anyways, it was a fun game to play, and again, I hope you guys have learned something from this. The best way to counter an Odrysian well, ideally, the best way to counter an Odrysian Kingdom build is to take a bunch of skirmishers and a bunch of horse archers. But obviously I didn't, so I had to pick Barbarian in the Beta Flash tournament, and Boyai are one of the strongest factions in general. So 62 kills and 50 kills with my Celtic bowmen, who are very cheap units, is a pretty big, pretty high number of kills for them. Of course, my axe warriors did really well. Noble swords, I mean the sword followers did incredibly well. In general, my heavy horse didn't do great, but they were very good in that they managed to envelop him very quickly and managed to take out some of his units and just scatter his army a bit. So just want to repeat the two takeaways from this. The best way to counter Odrysian Kingdom is by rear charging and cycle charging, and spreading the enemy's units as far away as possible, and finally not letting them get a proper charge. So trying to flank them and catching them with another unit mid charge would be great ways to counter them. Using other units to bog enemies down. So by that I mean, if you charge with a sword follower, you immediately charge in the same direction with an axe warrior, just to bog the enemy down. That would be a great way to counter Odrysian Kingdom as well and kill off their units. Anyways, guys, I'll see you later. We've got some more tutorial vids coming up, and hope you guys like this. See you. Bye.